And on this video, we're swapping a 7 horsepower Subaru Robin pressure washer motor into this go-kart chassis that had a Honda engine. Let's get to it. Will this engine run? I don't know, but let's get to it. Those who want to know, this is a Ryobi pressure washer that I picked off the side of the road for free. Put some starting fluid in it, and it does start, but it needs a carburetor clean. So we're gonna have to work on that. As you can see, a little bit of starting fluid in it, and it started up for a few seconds. It does have good compression, and there's nothing wrong with it besides it just having a dirty carburetor. The gas tank is full of some dirty gas, but I think we could be able to run off it if we put some seafoam in it. Here we have a 3/4 quarter-inch go-kart clutch that I lubricated with some lithium grease. That way it'll properly spin without making noises. This is these are typically a 3/4-inch shaft, and you see like Predators, this is basically it, but instead of having push rods on the top of this motor, you have a single overhead cam, which comes in handy when you want to do modifications to it. But in this episode, all we're going to do is clean the carburetor, throw it on the go-kart, and have some fun, you know. Maybe in the next few videos, we'll do a little bit more modifications and seeing what this thing is truly capable of, making exhaust, putting an aftermarket carburetor on it. But for this video and keeping it a little bit more fun, we're going to see if this engine will run and swap it on that go-kart, because this is a 7 horsepower and the engine that it had was a 5. And funny enough, they were both from a pressure washer. And so we'll see. Is a Subaru 7 horse motor better than a Honda 5 horse? We'll figure it out. So let's get to tearing this apart. And now you know a little bit more about the Subaru Robin engine. So let's get to tearing apart the Subaru Robin and getting it on the go-kart. So. We did get the engine off. It was actually really simple. As you saw, I literally pulled the engine off and the water pump just came off. Everything was pretty easy to pull off. Usually that's never the case. So now I think we're going to do is we're going to actually put the engine up on the workbench and clean the carburetor. That way it's a little bit easier. And then after that, we actually have to do a little repair on this clutch here. This sprocket piece here in the back isn't held on, so we're going to take a little tack weld, so that way it doesn't come loose. And kind of nice here. It's a nice, not a bad clutch. I mean, it works well on it. I have a new one on the way, so but we're going to use this one temporarily. So, but yeah, let's now clean this little engine up. Let's clean this little engine up and put it on the go-kart. And it's got rubber padding on the bottom, meaning less vibration on the go-kart. Win-win. All right, so let's get to a carb clean and then throwing it on the go-kart. So, also I am going to repurpose this metal here for this thing. It's got some really decent metal on it, and I could use it for a project or something I could need in the future. So we're gonna keep the metal, and then we're gonna scrap the rest of it, like the pump, to my neighbor. He'll take all the parts happily and make some money off it. So it's a win-win all the way. So let's get back to cleaning the carb. Here's the engine. It's a Subaru Robin. Not a bad little engine. So what we're gonna do is take off all this stuff and get to cleaning the carburetor. So let's get to it. Alrighty, so this is I have some specific tools to clean the carburetor. This right here is a needle. Basically, you do is you put it into the jet, you thread it in like this, and then you thread it out to clean it. Also, the gas smells like absolute dog poop. Like I want to vomit right now. It smells so bad. But okay, now we take these, and you can buy these at Amazon. They're about $4, but they're basically little thread clean things here. And all you do is just put them in, and you try to clean out those jets, because you need proper gas flow, and to do that, to get gas in the motor, you need to clean your jets. So you take the tool and you grab the biggest one. First go the metal one, then they go the brush one. The metal one breaks up most of it. Get it in here. There you go, like that, just back and forth, cleaning it. That way the jets are properly clean. Makes it easier to work on next time, less issues, you know, easier to maintain. Yeah, it's pretty dirty in there, you can tell. Everything's coming off pretty swell though. No gaskets are breaking, luckily. Knock on wood, we don't want to break anything here. And then don't forget to get the little side one here. It may not be a big one, but it's still important to clean out all of your jets, all the pores and stuff like that of the motor, because you don't want to have carburetor issues, trust me. Yeah, that was one of our problems right there. It was gummed up pretty bad. I'm using my needle here. Okay, now we go to the metal ones and we grab the smallest metal one we have. We'll start out the smallest until we can go to the largest, that largest size. So now we clean it out. Then we go to the next one. And we repeat so on and so forth till we get the proper jetting size, or hole, you know, whatever. I don't know how big it is, so I can't really tell you. What you can also do is, after you're cleaning this, take an air nozzle to it and blow it out with some good pressure. That way the engine is a little bit more cleaned out and you have less issues. Now we're going to take the big brush. We're going to go here. And we clean it through. Like that. So now we're going to pull this little cap here. So let me grab a wrench off the wall. And there will be some fuel spillage. That's a normal thing. Just make sure to shut off your fuel before you do this kind of stuff, so we can have less issues when working on these vehicles. Makes it a lot easier to work on if there's no fuel spillage or liquid spillage. Whew. Yeah, we had some, that's some bad gas. Always make sure to have some towels with you so you can clean up your workstation. That is so important. Having a clean workstation makes it so much easier to get projects done. This video is a little bit more of a how-to video on how to fix stuff. But even then, this is basic common knowledge. You need to learn to work on machines. Hey, so we got all this cleaned out. We're gonna make sure, it's gonna spill a little fuel, yes, but we're gonna make sure our fuel line ain't clogged. Is our fuel line clogged? Yes, our fuel line is clogged. There's something in it, because when I turned on the fuel, there should be proper fuel flow coming through the fuel filter, but there isn't. So what we're gonna do is we're going to take the fuel line off. So we're gonna pull off the air box to do that, but first, let's put the bowl back on. That way we have everything back on. Everything seems to be going good in the bowl now, so we're going to reassemble the bowl. Make sure this little screw piece here sticks out towards us. That way it's quite easier to take off the bowl or drain fuel from the carburetor. See that little thing right there? Yep, that's what you want to pull out. So what we're going to do now, take a 12 millimeter, because it's Subaru. They're going to do 10, 12, 6s, and 8s, and anything that's not like odd or American numbered, or, you know, whatever. It's a Japanese motor. If you know Japanese motors, they do what they do. All right, now we're gonna pull this off, so I'm gonna get to a time lapse of pulling it off real quick, and then I'll be right back. Alrighty, I took off the air filter, and it now seems to be leaking fuel. I don't want to show you because I don't want fuel on the workbench again. What we're going to do is take a little bit of starting fluid and we'll open up the throat here of the carburetor. That way it can help get all that harmful junk out. Starting fluid is very explosive. I be very cautious with it. No sparks, no fire around it. But trust me, it breaks down stuff pretty well. Brake clean, starting fluid, carb cleaner, basically all the same thing. So we're basically just gonna fill it up until it pours out the end of it like that. And now we take a paper towel once again and we clean it, therefore ensuring we have no fire or flame, because we don't need that. This is the wood workbench. We don't need to have a fire. We're gonna wipe up the workbench here, clean up everything that has starting fluid on it, right? So now I'm gonna assemble the air filter. So basically all you gotta do here is just line up the slots, to be honest. Pretty much you just gotta line up the slots. These things are a lot more simple than you think when you start working on them. I first started off actually with 5-horse Briggs & Stratton. That was the first motor I worked on by myself. That was a great motor, but they don't have enough power unless you open up those ports and give them more springs and different cam. But these Subarus, Predators, I recommend getting one of these motors on your hands. A Honda, anything 212 related, even the Chinese 212 ones, they're great. They last a long time. Parts are super cheap and easy to get for them. They're plentiful and there's so much power and you can have so fun. You can usually go 40 with these motors. So now that we got that, all we got to put on is this. I'm gonna do that off scene and then I'll meet you at the go-kart. So that's how you clean a carburetor. So let's put it on the go-kart now. All right, also I want to show you, it will start. Put the choke on. Basic carb clean, engine starts. Easy as that. Let's put it on the go-kart. So now what we're gonna do is install the engine. Basically, it'll just sit like this, which will be very nice. Be a nice little go-kart. Matching color and everything. Exhaust and simple. Alrighty, it's a little bit later tonight, probably around 10:47. I'm not sure. I got the throttle all set up, as you can see, with this and that. So now, when you push the pedal, it goes that far, which is nice, and throttle works. And then we also did was took the clutch and we found a little clip for it. It's overstretched, yes, but it will hold. And so now the clutch, I am going to replace this clutch, but for temporary, this will work great. So tomorrow morning, or as you see in the next clip, we will have chain, throw the chain on and tighten down the motor, and she'll be ready to drive. So, pretty simple video. Let's get to putting the chain on, but that's in the morning. So when I snap my fingers, it'll become morning. Are you ready? Wait, that's supposed to be for tomorrow. But we got the chain on and the seat. We'll do a kill switch later on tomorrow, but now we can go to ride it, but that's for tomorrow. So that was just a short clip. And it's morning. So as you can see, the engine is a little bit apart now. Let me explain. We had some carburetor issues still, so I went through everything, found out the bowl that I didn't look at, dumb me, was very dirty. So we cleaned out the bowl and made sure the jets were clean, because the carburetor bowl being so dirty, the jets got dirty again. And then we put some new fuel in on it. And then we're tightening down the throttle because I tried to take it for a drive. It bogged a lot and it had a governor, which is kind of a bummer. So now that we did that, now we have to do maintenance. One thing I forgot is when you get a new motor, first thing you want to check is compression, spark, if the engine turns over, and the oil. We did not check the oil. You know what was in it? Water. There's oil and water in it. So we bought some 4-cycle engine oil at O'Reilly's. 10W30 usually works best for these things, or SAE30, depending on what you have money. And then went to Amazon, and for 20 bucks, you can order up a new clutch. Here comes a chain, which we will probably be using because that chain is older than me. And I'm 17 for reference. That chain is older than me. So probably it's time to switch it out. Comes with spacers and washers and a brand new clutch. Now, one problem we were facing is when I spin this clutch here, it wouldn't spin for long. Usually a clutch, you should be able to spin it like this, and it should just spin for, 5-10 seconds. This one, on the other hand, didn't want to spin. It was in really rough shape, and it made a lot of noise. So I'm going to put you in time lapse, and I'm going to switch out these clutches here and throw on a different chain, and we'll put the gas tank back on and do an oil change. I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll go for a ride. So let's get to it. We got the clutch on. The chain is, as you can see, tight, but since it's a brand new chain, it will stretch out, and I'm not concerned because this engine is free and that chain is going to loosen. It's bound to. Besides, it still rolls really well. So next we're going to do is I'm going to cut to doing an oil change. And off camera, I'm going to put the side cover back on and get the air filter back on. Then we'll go to the oil change. So I'll see you at the oil change. Now we're going to do the oil change. I got everything buttoned up here. So all you're really going to need is an adjustable wrench, like so. Might be a little tricky to get off on the go-kart, but you'll get it. And that was a very tight bolt. We didn't break it. But yeah. That's some bad oil. Let me bring it up closer real quick. As you can see, it's now just dripping, but that stuff had water in it. It was pretty icky. See, the bottom seems nice and clean, but the top was like really dark and dirty, so it had some water in it. You can see that oil is very, very drippy. Usually it's a little bit more thick as normal engine is. So I'm gonna let it drip for a few more minutes and I'll get back to you.